Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Do you enjoy the weather today?
Yes.
Oh, the weather is quite good compared with last year. Have you seen the snow last day? Yesterday? Yeah, today. So we are very lucky to have this conference here with the sunshine, with lots of good content. So I'm welcome you to join our meeting now. Okay? Do you enjoy the music I play for you? Yeah, we have made everybody more elegant, like a family. We are sisterhood around the world. Now, welcome everybody join our meeting now. Today, we are going to talk the expand influence in current structure barrier, create a fair and enable environment through enhancing women's leadership. So this topic is very important because I think even you are a very outstanding women in the world, like I remember First Lady Hillary said, even the lady like her still have the glass ceiling in this world. So how can we break the barrier? It's very important. So we will have very good speaker here. Later I will introduce them more. So now we are going to start our meeting. Let me introduce a little bit myself. My name is Csw70. I'm the CEO from the Csw70 Guardian Corporation. We are doing a consulting firm, and also the president for Taipei International Women's Club now. Also the director from Women's Federation for World Peace Taiwan. So we have lots of people from Taiwan, that's a friend, sister from Taiwan, welcome you. So can you raise your hand? If you're from Taiwan, then let us know. Yeah. Wow, we have lots of Taiwanese friends here. Okay, so I just told to everybody the structure barrier is very important all over the world. I think mostly because the expectation from the societies, what the society expect the woman looks like. You can imagine when you are very young, and our mother, our father always ask me to wear the skirt, even I don't like, right? So when I grew up, my mother told to me I need to behave like a girl. I cannot like a Zhiyi, she told last session, to play the taekwondo or to always fighting with men outside. So we have educated to behave like a girl. That's an expectation. So when I grow up, I studied in the university. They also ask me, I cannot be stronger than a man. When I get married, some expectation that you have to behave like a mother or like a wife at home. So you cannot go abroad to have business. You cannot have a stronger life. You have to balance your life. You have to take care of your children. So when my children have some problem, I remember the teacher always call me first, not call my husband. So that's a bias from this society. So how can we break it? For my experience, I always talk to my husband, my children. My daughter right now is 20 years old now. I'm quite old, more than 50. Okay. So when she was very young, I always told her, we are independent. So because when I grow up, when I'm old, I will die. And you have to live by yourself. So I also talk to my husband, you are also independent. You cannot rely on me. So if you cannot find anything, you have to find by yourself. Okay, so that's an education from family, very important. Okay, so we have to think why we are doing this topic and how we can improve. We need to have the inclusive policy, equitable workplace practice in the NGO and the corporations, and the supporting networks across sectors. So today, I think we can have some knowledge about that. And let me introduce our organizer, Winnie Zhao, although she cannot come here. She's the CEO from Dayu Education Group and the president from Gongwen Cultural Foundation. And she works very hard for this room. So although she's not here, we have to give her a big applause for her. Yes. Thank you. And she also dedicated a lot from her group. Her group called the Dayu Education Group, who is caring about the business side and also the NGO side. For the business side, you can see from the kindergarten school and also nursery caring. So we have the Family Forever for the look after the age of 0 to 9, and also the kindergartens also have some educational toys, and the very famous one is the Gongwen. Gongwen is a master Chinese English program school for the students. And right now she also have the business for the home caretakers about the education and training. And then for the NGO part is about the Csw70 Charity Foundation, and also the one who is organized here is a Gongwen Cultural Foundation, and the other one is a research project. Because I remember Winnie also talked to me, self-learning is very important for us in the future, especially for the female. Okay, so now I'm going to pass today's meeting from our first speaker. The first speaker is Miss Moriko Hori. She is president from Women's Federation of World Peace International, and also the president from the Women's Federation for Women Peace Japan. She actually look after all the sisters around the world. She has some stories, some system, some logical thinking would like to brief to us. So can we have a big applause for her? And President Hori, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Carolyn. Good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good, thank you. I really I have to say thank you for the organizer, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak the CSW's the 70th CSW. Yes. This parallel event. And I was very amazed by the title of this event, the expand influence in current structure barriers. And as a female leader from Japan, many Japanese people value the traditional role of women. So in order to be a leader, all my life I have to fight. But I don't want my younger generations to fight to get their leadership. So today I will talk about the leadership ecosystem. That's the main theme today. So, and my other presenter will talk about their amazing story. So let me begin. Can you see my face? I'm sure. Anyways, excuse me. My name is Moriko Hori. I'm the president of Women's Federation for World Peace International and also Japan. It is my honor to join this discussion and expanding influence under structural barriers, because for millions of women, leadership does not begin in ideal conditions. It begins in constraint. So around the world, women are expected to lead without authority, to stabilize families without resources, and to hold communities together without recognition. Yes. So, good. It's okay. So I would like to start my presentation by asking this question: why this conversation matters? So it's because for millions of women, leadership does not begin in ideal conditions. Women lead every day, often without authority or recognition. Structural barriers limit women's influence, not their capacity. So leadership begins in constraint, not in ideal conditions, and enabling environment is essential for sustainable progress. So I'm from the organization called Women's Federation for World Peace. Women's Federation was founded in 1992 on the belief that sustainable peace and development are impossible without women's leadership. Not only in institutions, but in the social foundation of society. So we acquired general consultative status with CCUN in 1997. We have 128 chapters all over the world. We consider women as agents of peace, stability, and social cohesion. So at Women's Federation, thank you. At Women's Federation, we have learned a simple truth through more than 3 decades of work. So women do not lack leadership capacity. They lack enabling environment that recognize and protect their leadership. Today, I would like to share how Women's Federation understands women's leadership, not as a position, but as a social function, and how this approach helps overcome structural barriers at the community and national levels. So our leadership framework rests on 3 principles. First, leadership is relational. Women often lead not through formal authority, but through trust, moral credibility, and responsibility for others. Second, leadership must be contextual. Expecting women in fragile or conservative environments to adopt Western leadership models can unintentionally exclude them. So effective leadership must grow from local realities, family structures, cultural norms, and community needs. Third, leadership must be protected. Women leaders operating at the grassroots level face backlash, social isolation, and sometimes violence. An enabling environment is not only about opportunity, it is about safety, legitimacy, and continuity. So this perspective shifts the question from how do we put more women into leadership position to how do we remove the structural barriers that prevent women from leading where they already are. So across regions, we see recurring structural barriers, family instability, which disproportionately burdens women and limits civic participation, economic precarity, especially for young women and single mothers. Also, weak community institutions where informal power outweighs legal protections. So exclusion from policy dialogue, particularly for grassroots women. So these barriers are interconnected. Next, please. So a woman cannot sustain leadership in her community, in her family, is unstable. She cannot engage publicly if economic survival consumes all her energy. And she cannot influence policy if her experience is dismissed as non-expert. So this is why Women's Federation focuses more on leadership ecosystem, not individual success stories. Next, please. So we can speak about empowering women. We often focus on individual providing training, mentoring, or financial support. But our experience at Women's Federation International has shown us that individual empowerment alone is not sufficient. A woman may receive excellent leadership training, but if she returns to a home environment where she carries disproportionate care responsibilities, if her community does not recognize her authority, or if civic space is unsafe or restricted, her leadership becomes fragile. So this is why we speak about leadership ecosystems. So a leadership ecosystem is the interconnected social environment that enables women to lead sustainably. Yes. First, it includes family stability because shared responsibility within home determines whether women can participate publicly. Second, economic security. Without financial agency, leadership remains dependent. Third, safe civic space. Women must be able to organize and speak without fear. Fourth, community legitimacy. Leadership must be socially recognized to endure. And finally, institutional access, pathway to governance and policy dialogue must exist. When these elements reinforce one another, women's leadership becomes resilient and transformative. So when they are absent, empowerment efforts remain temporary. So at Women's Federation, we therefore focus not only on training women, but on strengthening the ecosystem around them. Because sustainable leadership is not an individual achievement, it is a system outcome. So let me briefly illustrate what we mean by leadership ecosystem. I'm sorry that I couldn't make perfect circle. I asked my ChatGPT to make perfect circle, but my Chappie said, I'm sorry, this is what I could do best. Anyways, okay. At the center is women's leadership itself, the blue part. Agency, responsibility, and the capacity to influence society positively. But this leadership does not stand alone. The first surrounding green layer is family stability. Without shared responsibility at home and emotional support, public leadership becomes unsustainable. The next yellow layer is economic security. Financial agency strengthens autonomy and credibility. So beyond that is orange layer, which is safe civic space. Women must be able to organize, participate, and speak without fear of backlash. And finally, the red outer layer is institutional access and social legitimacy. So leadership must be recognized and connected to governance structure in order to influence policy. So, So when these layers align, leadership becomes resilient. So when one layer weakens, leadership becomes fragile. So at Women's Federation, we work intentionally across these layers, not only empowering individuals, but strengthening the environment around them. So this ecosystem approach transforms empowerment from a short-term intervention into sustainable structural change. Next, please. So the question, of course, is how we move from concept to implementation. Implementation is important. So leadership ecosystem cannot remain theoretical. This must be operationalized across multiple levels. So at the policy level, this means integrating idea of an enabling environment directly into gender strategies. So we must align family policy with women's leadership objectives, protect civic space, and create pathways that connect grassroots women leaders to governance structures. So at the community level, implementation begins with ecosystem mapping, understanding family dynamics, economic realities, and local power structures. It also requires engaging men, families, and community leaders to reduce backlash and strengthen legitimacy. So at the organization level, programs must be intentionally multi-layered. Rather than training women in isolation, initiatives should simultaneously address family stability, economic security, civic participation, and institutional access. So success should be measured not only by how many women are trained, but by how sustainably they are able to lead. Next, please. So, Women's Federation, we operationalize this approach through the Global Women's Peace Network. We call GWPN. This is one of our significant projects. GWPN connects women leaders across sectors, civil society, governments, academia, and faith communities, creating a platform where grassroots leadership can engage with global policy dialogue. So in this way, leadership ecosystems are not only a framework, they become a living network of relationships that expand women's influence in structurally meaningful ways. So having outlined how Women's Federation advances leadership ecosystem through the Global Women's Peace Network, let me now illustrate how this approach is translated into practice at the country level. So I would like to briefly share, I only have 1 minute, oh my God. I would like to briefly share 2 examples. Okay, one is project in Peru. So in Peru, Women's Federation has implemented family-based leadership education in communities affected by poverty, youth violence, and social fragmentation. Rather than training women only for public roles, we start by strengthening family communication, shared parental responsibility, and value-based conflict resolution. Why? Because in many contexts, a woman's authority in the public sphere depends on stability in the private sphere. So through this approach, women gain legitimacy as mediators and educators. So youth crime indicators decrease in target communities. So local authorities begin inviting women participants into multiple dialogues. So in this way, we expand our educational place around 100. So what changed was not only women's skills, but the environment around them. Families become partners rather than obstacles to women's leadership. This is structural change at the community level. So since I don't have enough time, so I'll skip my amazing practice in Rwanda. So let's go to, yes, thank you. So from these experiences, Women's Federation identifies for requirements for an enabling environment, recognition of informal leadership, family inclusive approaches, protection of civic space, bridging grassroots experience to policy. So, call to action. As we look toward the future, expanding women's influence under structural barriers requires humility. So we must listen to women who lead without titles. We must design policies that protect, not punish community. Not punish community-based leadership. And we must recognize that peace, development, and security are built in families and communities. So Women's Federation stands ready to continue working with governments, UN bodies, and civil society partners to translate women's leadership into lasting structural change. So because when women are empowered to lead where they already stand, societies do not merely advance, they stabilize. So thank you so much, and I hope you can join our amazing leadership ecosystem, and let's work together to bring a better world. Thank you so much.
Thank you for President Holly's great speech. I actually like the ecosystem because this word, we use ecosystem in technology industry, but in women's leadership is also very important. We have learned the word today, and we also know how to operate it from the macro society to the mass and to the micro one. So hope you enjoy today's speech from the President Holly. Can we give her a big round? Okay, so next we are going to move to another speaker. She is from Argentina. She is Cecilia Ruyo. She is also the president from the Foundation Camino Argentina. So now we are moving to the Argentina. She will bring us to know how the Camino Foundation process execute the program they would like to do, and also the mostly they are caring about the children, but they also have lots of training for the women, because we know women are very important in the family. So now, Cecilia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. What a chance. Yeah, yes, okay. I just, okay. Well,
Thank you, Caroline, for your kind introduction. I would also like to especially thank Winnie Tao, a remarkable and dedicated leader and a dear friend. She could not be here with us today, but she has truly been a driving force behind all this. Well, good morning, everyone. It's an honor for me to be part of this panel today. Before I begin, I would like to share a short video to place our foundation and our work in context, to allow you to see the faces, the community, and the realities behind the words I am about to share.
Being there isn't enough. It's about holding on when everything feels lost. It's about listening, caring, and restoring hope. In Argentina, hundreds of children and women face hardships, and they need someone by their side. Foundation Camino was born in Argentina over 30 years ago, building a bridge between the willingness to give and the need to receive.
En el año 2000, junto a Colín, acompañamos a las familias desde un enfoque integral, porque sin acompañamiento esas historias quedan a mitad de camino.
Creemos que la desnutrición no es solo falta de alimentación, sino una problemática social profunda que necesita presencia y compromiso sostenido.
At our child malnutrition prevention centers, support begins from the very first 1,000 days of life.
Trabajamos con niños de 0 a 5 años y mujeres embarazadas desde el consultorio y con un seguimiento personalizado. No asistimos, educamos, acompañamos y fortalecemos a las familias para que puedan sostener los cambios en el tiempo.
Antes venía con miedo y bueno, ahora siento que acá me ayudan, me enseñan cada día más cosas. Es un espacio para los chicos, pero también es un espacio para las madres y para toda la familia también.
Supporting others also means creating spaces where women can learn, build confidence, and realize they have the tools to transform their own lives.
En los talleres, las mamás encuentran apoyo, confianza y una red que las sostiene.
Yo vine buscando ayuda y encontré fuerza. Hoy me siento capaz, ya no estoy más sola.
When support is sustained over time, new opportunities arise. For 12 years, Banquillo Solidario has empowered women to start businesses, earn income, and build autonomy for their families.
El banquito no es solo un impulso económico, es confianza, es red, es la posibilidad real de que una mujer construya su propio camino.
Camino is built by people who choose to be there, who give their time, their attention, their presence, people who simply choose to show up.
Ser voluntario, es decir, aquí estoy y eso muchas veces lo cambia todo.
Cada pequeño gesto genera un impacto enorme.
Los voluntarios son una parte fundamental para el equipo y su acompañamiento diario.
Un niño que crece sano, una mujer que descubre su fuerza, es una familia que vuelve a creer. Eso es acompañamiento. Y eso transforma vidas.
Cuando un niño es acompañado, el futuro deja de ser una amenaza y se convierte en una posibilidad. Cuando una mujer se fortalece, una familia cambia. Y cuando eso sucede, la comunidad entera avanza.
Environment. Well, sorry, that was a long version of the video, so I'm going to try to reduce my presentation. Well, as you could see, we focus on two main areas: the the prevent child malnutrition and strengthening women in vulnerable situations. Let's go to the next. At Fundación Camino, we believe that between possibilities and barriers, there is a decision, a moment of choice. the decision to believe that vulnerability is not the end of the story for women, mothers, and their families. The decision to believe leadership can grow in unexpected places. And what we try to do is simple, to create the conditions where women can rise. Because leadership is not reserved for a few. It is a potential that exists in everyone waiting to be awakened. Before we talk about solutions, I want you to meet the women we walk alongside every day. Currently, there are more than 250 in these 3 different centers. Many faces poverty, violence, and abuses of all kinds, emotional instability, addictions, loneliness, limited access to education or employment, low self-confidence, and extreme vulnerability, or they are under extreme pressure. But we always say vulnerability is not an identity, it is a starting point. At Fundación Camino, leadership begins with dignity. It begins by listening instead of judging, supporting instead of imposing, and nurturing the empowerment that already exists within women. Many women grow up being told what they cannot do, as you said, Caroline, at the beginning. So we must first ask, what does she need in order to believe she can begin? At the heart of everything, self-belief. We begin with structured self-leadership workshops that strengthen women in several dimensions: economic independence, emotional resilience, educational growth, and civic participation. Our professional teams and volunteers works on restoring first self-esteem at first, moving forward, helping women rediscover their strength and voice, and created safe community spaces. We open our doors and our hearts and walk the path together. So you must be wondering, what exactly do we train them in? Well, what we do is we offer training tailored to each woman's interest, such as you can see here, artisanal work, cooking, pastry, manicure, sewing, gardening, plumbing, house painting, welding, to get into industries, child and elderly care, family economics, enabling women to build their own businesses, while others enter the workforce in companies, factories, schools, and local community institutions. We believe that learning opens the door, but leadership keeps it open. At one of at one of our centers, a powerful initiative was born, the Banquito Solidario, that means a small solidarity bank. Let's go to that. Banquito Solidario. Well, this Banquito Solidarity Bank was created in 2012, and it supported a small group of 4 or 5 women entrepreneurs. And this detail matters. They don't walk alone. The Banquito is led by a group of professional volunteers who provide guidance, follow-up, and real support. Our formula is simple. As you can see, it is microcredit plus mentoring plus mutual trust equal transformation. Next, please. We truly believe that transformation becomes stronger when it is shared, when we grow together, when we support one another, when leadership is collective rather than individual. Changes go deeper and last longer. That is collective growth. As Moriko said, the importance of the environment around them. Next, please. Well, and here comes our star, our dream, what the women of Banquito have been working so hard for. It is the Banqui Bar. What is it about? It was born from their own initiative and determination of this group of women. They secured land donated by the municipality to build this cooperative cafe and training center. It will be managed entirely by them, and it is currently under construction, as you can see in the second picture. The first one is the render. It will be managed by them. The space will feature all this, dry cafe, workshop area, training, blah, blah, blah. And let's keep on moving. From the foundation, we are supporting them in raising the funds and securing the materials needed to make it happen. It's community work at its best. Well, let's go to the next one. Well, I want to share something that makes us very proud. An author, a book author, heard about the Banquito Solidario, came to visit it, and was so deeply moved by the experience that she decided to write this book, Their Voices. This book brings together the real story of 11 Banquito women, stories of struggle and resilience, of hope, dignity, and transformation. If I may, I would like to respectfully read a short excerpt from one of the stories, Gabriela's story. Just a brief part, just the part. Let's suppose I'm the author and I'm reading it. Well, the first thing Gabriela told me when we met was that she was the number 21. She had 20 siblings, all from the same mother and 3 different fathers. I found out that Gabriela is the woman who moved 1,000 times. She's a little girl who wanted to go to school against all odds, with no supplies, no smoke, and no one to take her there. She's the teenage who walked out her house when she decided she had suffered enough. She's the unconditional mother of 3 children born from her womb and 1 from the heart. She's the wife who left her husband. She's a member of the Banquito Solidario, where she discovered versions of herself that she likes and that make her feel good. She's the daughter of Marcelo, a waste picker. She's a cleaner at the Center for Children with Autism, where she found her calling. She's a nursing student. She's the one who now stands tall and says what she thinks to whoever needs to hear it. She's a woman tattooed in body and soul, because there are things you simply never forget. Gabriela's voice. The Banquito gave me the education I have today. It opened my mind, it convinced me of everything I'm capable of. Before, I was the one limiting myself. The author. I see her looking ahead. Her eyes forget the tears and shine. She dreams of being a nurse and working in a hospital. And I look at this woman, a living locomotive, and I know she's going to make it. Today, this story is over a year old. Gabriela, the next one. Oh, I'm sorry, that is Gabriela. I forgot to tell you. Well, Gabriela, today this story is over a year old. Gabriela is graduated as a nurse and it is now practicing her profession. She has become the pride and example for her family, a strong, resilient, and deeply grateful woman. You have Gabriela's or it's... Yeah, that's it? Okay, that is Gabriela. Became a nurse. Thank you. The next one, please. Women's leadership, yeah. Well, this is not only about one woman, this is about women's leadership. Today, realizing I can. Today in Fundación Camino, we see women once arrived in silence and now they are leading micro-enterprises, organizing community fairs, mentoring others, and becoming a role model. Next. Thank you. Well, so we come next. If we want a fair and enable environment, we must expand the influence beyond individual success stories. To move forward, we need stronger alliances, investment, expansion, etc. You know, the word Camino means the way forward, and every day we help women and children walk the path. We are convinced that when a child is well nourished, when a mother rises, when a woman leads, that's where real transformation begins. So let's turn intention into action. Let's walk the path. Thank you.
Thank you for Cecilia, her introduction to the Camina Foundation. I think everybody always, you are deeply go into Camino's world, and you are also be touching by the stories they have talked about. I always believe when the mother is leading, when the mother has some direction, they will directly impact to their children. So if we would like to make this world better, we have to look after the mothers, the women. Okay, thank you, Cecilia. And now we are going to our next speaker. She's young and she would like to bring us to the corporate world. She is Miranda Ngo, and she's a youth representative from Gongwen Cultural Foundation. Also the founder, she's the founder, although she's very young, for the Organization Development Consultant Chapter C Corporation. So Miranda will talk us about how the international manager will encounter the barrier and how can we call to action. So Miranda, the floor is yours. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning. Can I have some energy here? Good morning. Good morning. Oh, that's where I'm talking. Please give applause to yourself and all the people here. So yes, this is Miranda from Taiwan. I am an organization development consultant, an entrepreneur, and a leadership coach. And as you may tell, I hope you can tell, I have always been in the youngest in the room. I hope I have the Asian gene. Like, oh, not today. Oh my goodness, already not. Oh, I cannot pretend, yes. And I have been like the very few women, the only Asian, the only foreigner, or everything together in the room. And I can't be silenced. I can't pretend I'm not in the room because I have to lead change in organization. Have anyone have similar experiences? Anyone? No? Oh, how unique I am. I mean, but today I'm not going to share the perspective from the high level perspective. You know, when you have the baton, when you have the position of power, you can share your vision, you can announce the strategy, but who make things happen? Most likely, middle management is a very important group. While they don't have enough position of power, while they have a lot of self-doubt, while they are women entering in different countries, the stories probably are not similar to those senior management, what they would tell you. And today I'm very honored to represent Gongwen Cultural Foundation. And it's very interesting because I started my career as a teacher at school. And then I changed my career into corporate. And now I'm an entrepreneur to partner with middle management and teams at multinational corporations. So Gongwen Cultural Foundation has supported education development from different angles. No matter it's providing scholarships, no matter it's providing the necessary ability advancement, or helping the communication from different area stakeholders. So there are a lot of things Gongwen Cultural Foundations has been supported and educated, and especially from all leadership teams that really dedicate to education transformation. And we are also going to talk about similar topics and echoing what Holly-san or Cecilia was talking about, you know, the ecosystem, the self dignity, the self-acknowledgement. And me, as someone, for example, just want to share a brief experience. when I was working in the US, me, someone who dedicated in people development in my whole career, of course, I know we need to find mentors. I know, I teach people that, right? And we need to find sponsors, we need to this and that. But what do I do for myself? I did not. It's very sarcastically. And I didn't have that awareness. I was like, I teach people how you can do, but I did nothing for myself. I was grinding so hard because I think I needed to prove myself. I needed to show that I'm an Asian woman, I have a place here, and I can contribute. So I thought I have to carry the whole world on me. I thought it was me. I don't have enough ability, or I need to prove that I can contribute more. And I didn't really think about it. Probably it's not only about myself. And it was so interesting later on when I worked in Philippines at Asian Development Bank. It's a bank with more than 60 nationalities of staff. And I was working so hard again. I wanted to impress, I want to outperform. And I did outperform because my 4 direct managers from different countries told me, Miranda, you did amazing, amazing work. But I didn't stop there until I learned. My colleagues from Australia, my colleagues from India, my colleagues from Thailand and many other countries, they spent a lot of time doing coffee chats. They were finding a lot of sponsors, a lot of mentors. And they didn't, because of that, so they kind of like drop in their performance. So it's not a conflict, it's not like selfish. It's not that it's a taboo. And that was the moment. It's not that I learned from books, but I learned from the life demonstration. Oh, you know what? I can do that for the organization and for myself. Because thinking about this, if the middle managers cannot do that for themselves, can you tell them to do that for their team members? And as you can see here, I want to share a brief data that from Taiwan, we are seeing the growth of senior women leaders in corporations. We are very proud to see that it's actually almost doubled in different advancement. At the same time, it's interesting to see that we are growing, and I have interviewed more than 20 women leaders in Asia and majorly in Taiwan. It's interesting to see that we are still encountering different challenges in Taiwan, in Singapore, in Japan, and many other places. At the same time, people are telling me something very interestingly, and I feel it. I don't know if you feel that. They say, Miranda, I have a good job, and I got paid. I don't know if I can still talk about my problems. It sounds like I'm whining. I don't encounter domestic violence. I don't, having something very extreme. And because of many issues like this, they hesitate to speak up. And thinking about what do they do for themselves and what do they do for their teams. So the structural barriers we are seeing, besides what I had mentioned earlier, I want to highlight something that is uniquely in multinational corporations. That is the awareness, the cross-cultural leadership double challenges. Thinking about this, when you are leading your home country very well, and you know how to navigate the power dynamics and the roles, and then you enter to a different markets. So totally everything is different. So for example, one lady I interviewed, she's from Cambodia, and she was considered too aggressive when she was going to Myanmar, because she didn't really know how to navigate the cultural nuance, the norms. What does it look like? So for example, I'll give you another example. When I was described too aggressive in Taiwan workplace, I'm telling you, this is not a compliment at all. And it's actually asking you to tune down a little bit. But when I was working in the US, of course, when you hear like, this lady is a girl boss, this is a compliment. So how do you actually navigate those cultural norms? It's actually something, people don't really talk about it, but quite influential. And we want to see that the middle manager as well, we don't have those platform to share about vision, missions, and really decide the strategy. We need help so then we can transform the strategies into the real influence in the organization and the community. So the cultural competency influence skills. So for example, like many people know, like TSMC, a big company in Taiwan, when they are entering in different markets, how do they know they can actually be good leaders for everybody, not just from what they know from their home countries? And the awareness breakthrough is very, very important because a lot of middle managers are so busy to get the performance out, and they really forget about what they have done for themselves and their teams in another level. So for example, I interviewed other leaders from, Microsoft, Taiwan, and she said that one thing that she used the word regret, was when she was pregnant with her baby. She very aware about she was different, and she didn't want to be different. So she pretended she was not pregnant. I mean, you can imagine. She didn't want to rest. She wanted to double the performance. She didn't ask for help, this and that. But later on, she learned that if she did that, it's really not only for herself, her family, her kids, but also for her teams and for society. Because if she does this, then the other people know, oh, it's actually okay to do this. And she also missed out something. She later on interviewed her previous stakeholders, and everybody says, you know what? We just thought you tried too hard. We are expecting to catch you, when you actually need it. And she felt such a pity because she didn't even dare to initiate that kind of conversations because she didn't want to be perceived weak or not capable enough. So she just continued to do that. And the other experiences we have seen from Asia, I would just focus on what I learned from Taiwanese lenses, especially at this moment. So I grouped the interviewee into two. So one group is they perceive gender issues affect minimally in where they're from. And it's very interesting, Taiwan actually come to different sectors. So for here, people are reporting in this perspective, they encourage women leaders in multinational corporations to build relevant skills, really like skill-based, and protect your identity and know what creates influence, so then you go for that. However, on the other hand, people who perceive that gender issues affect them greatly in their culture, also you can see Taiwan here, they really recommend something very different. They say that choose your environment wisely. For example, they say in some areas, you cannot change the world. So what you can do is to choose an organization who actually welcome and encourage women leadership. And to know your own worth, because it's very easily, you define yourself by your work performance and you think, I'm horrible, I cannot be a great leader because I'm not progressing as what I want. But this is really not what's the fact that we are seeing here. And it's very interesting to see that the different aspects that we have observed in Asia, and it happens, for example, at the same time in Taiwan. So what I brought here is, I don't know what's your experience. Perhaps you have a particular experiences, but I bet there are other people experience something different in your own country. And I want to highlight something very interesting here is, I also who I interview, later on I have that awareness, the high performers, the really promising middle management. And then I casually chat with my friends in a similar context. And they are saying, Miranda, there's something we probably wouldn't tell you from the other side, especially if we are not, considered into the next pipeline of successions. That is, working at multinational corporations, especially, for example, the headquarters in the US, the official quote-unquote language is English, obvious. And it's hard to voice out saying, can we slow down the English speaking in the meeting? Because my English is actually not that good. And how can you say that out? You are going to be perceived that you are not ready for your next position. And also for people, they're telling me that, Miranda, I know people talk about community, but what is community? And for middle management, they're just so busy every day, barely have enough time to sleep. And how can they actually to have this for themselves? So I encourage everybody to not just, please continue to do what you are doing. And I believe everyone that you are here, you value the woman leadership. At the same time, can you also share about your own experiences beyond your circle? Because a lot of people, they don't have that experience. They didn't know what really the community can bring to them. They don't really know what's the impact for themselves and the influence they can actually make if they seek supports. So the awareness is something we can all help together. And then of course, the skill gap that we can actually help as well. And for a lot of people that we can do, not only just for the organizational level, but also for individual levels. So here in this, on this slide, there are all the people that I consider my mentors, some were my direct managers. They really helped me a lot. And actually, I'm so thankful that one of my mentors fly in from San Diego, California just to support me, someone flying from Taiwan to just support me today. They all share with me something that is because they were helped, so they are willing to help other people without asking for returns. And really like the basic things we can all do, if you can just help one person and you don't know what you are seeding. So no matter what we can do for the organizations, no matter what organization can do for us, I believe that there is always something we can do because together we can make change. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Miranda. And she's young and she's great and she's working for the international environment. I think I used to work in the HSBC Bank before, and I think the international culture is totally different, even in the management level. So when a young lady would like to become an international person, I think our skill need to be level up, and also I think the communication and the social community skills is also very important, which we would not be told when we were very young. So thank you, Miranda's speech today. Give her a big applause. And now we are going to our last speaker, and you have to prepare. You are going to her story because her story is very brilliant, she will have some tough time, but she encountered those barriers and become now a very confident lady. Now let's welcome our next speaker, Jessica Lee. And Jessica is a committee member for Gongwen Culture Foundation, also the educator, Gongwen Taiwan Taichung City Shenyang Road Learning Center. She is young, but she has, how many kids you have? 2 kids. Yeah, and also very grown up. So now we are going to hear her story. So that is welcome Jessica. Jessica, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I'm the last one, but we have something special. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica. I'm an educator and entrepreneur from Taiwan. Where I have spent 15 years for running a Kumon Learning Center. I'm here today to share how education, in particularly the power of self-learning, became my bridge to crisis, to justice. It is an honor to be the part of this dialogue on women's empowerment. So before I share my life journey, I'd like you all to imagine a scene from 1981 in Taiwan. In a small corner behind a traditional dental clinic, that's my mother. My mother, Miss Cho Biyu, founded her Kumon classroom. I was only 4 years old. That humble space was my childhood, and it gave me my very first memory of what a professional woman looked like. In an era when women almost entirely depend on their husbands, but she planted the most important seed of my life. She taught me to live with palms facing down. It is a simple but profound truth that dignity comes from contribution, not just reception. So we work hard not to prove our strength, but to increase our power to give. So my 20s were defined by two violent tremors, a family in crisis, and my own growing ambition. In 1994, Taiwan's industry was changing rapidly. The wave of automation hit our family biscuits factory hard. Like many others, we face a situation like this. Small factory always being squeezed out by massive automated competitors. I watched my once confident father return to the workforce as an employee. However, I was astonished to find that my mother's small education acted like an anchor. Because she had an independent income, she quietly bore the cost of my brother and my education, keeping our dignity intact while the world around us was crumbling. In 1996, my father suffered a severe industrial accident. In the hospital, my mother arrived straight from work. She didn't break down. Instead, she gave him a firm embrace and whispered, "Darling, as long as you are safe, everything can be rebuilt." That was the moment I woke up. Wow, my mother's economic independence provide a buffer of dignity for her family in the face of a storm. With this awakening, I drove into international trade after graduation. In 2005, I drove into the challenge of managing global orders. Soon, I was handling orders from all over the world, from Central and South America to Canada and Southeast Asia, convinced that as long as I had the ability, I am the master of my own fate. But however, the script of my life took a devastating turn in 2008. The global financial crisis hit, but I fell into a deeper personal trap. Out of the blind trust in my marriage, I had signed on as a guarantor. When the business collapsed, my partner walked away, and I was left facing the shadow of domestic violence. Overnight, I lost my legal agency. My accounts were frozen, and my credit was zero, and I have nowhere to turn. Before I keep continuing, I want to ask you all a question. Imagine that you find yourself responsible for a debt, roughly around $700,000. Honestly, what would you do? Would you stay or would you run? And here is the most important part is, those money is not single cent was spent by you. It is not your debt, but legally it was your burden. So how would you feel? How would you survive? So that was my reality in 2008. That was the moment of exhaustion and loss. I realized I had to set a boundary for myself and my children. So I chose to end the marriage. So in 2010, I transitioned into the field of education. It was a massive psychological shift. I went from a global trader flying across the world to a Navy teacher, starting with 0 students in my own living room. But I know exactly why I have to make this choice. I wanted my children to see that life hits hard, but his mother chooses to confront, to challenge it head on rather than run away. So I put myself into this mission. I became like a sponge, relearning educational psychology and studying every piece of curriculum. By day, I was a teacher striving for excellence. By night, I was a mother accompanying my children. It was hard at that moment, but my heart was full because I know I was showing a good example for my children. So I saw legal restriction to reclaim my life. Standing up legally was about regaining my identity. Finally, after 2 years, after the battle with court, when the court guaranteed my discharge, I finally stand up from the shadow. I had won the right to start over, this time with my head held high. So after climbing my life, I officially joined the Kumon franchise system. I chose this path because its regulatory soundness provides a stable foundation my family needed. Today, I lead my classroom with the clear mission. In this industry, I have learned that early childhood education is the root of all growth. But we do more than just teach math, English, or Chinese. We foster a tripartite wing, a collaborative ecosystem where expert industry provide the path, parents offer the support, and through self-learning, the child discover their own limited potential. This is how we build a foundation for long-term success. Please see this milestone from the past 15 years. Empowering 864 students. These aren't just the numbers. They represent the trust of 864 families. Average 4.5 years of study. This reflects the stability and the consistency we provide. And 79 students studied 4+ years above their grade level. These children has gained a self-learning ability for an uncertain future. So let me share a story from William. He came to me in kindergarten because he was studying Old English preschool. His English was excellent, but his Chinese and math were a blank slate. His mother was extremely strict, like many busy working parents. She wanted to see instant succeed. So I spent communicating with her many years, gently tell her, William, mommy, please focus on his progress, not just the score. Give him the space to make mistakes so he can learn how to rise. Replace punishment with encouragement. It wasn't easy, but as I earned her trust, something beautiful happened by letting go the impossible standard. The tension in their home vanished. Her relationship with her son became warmer, and she and I become close friends. This is the true value of a Kumon teacher. It goes beyond the classroom. We don't just improve his grades, we are transform their family dynamics. As a woman has survived our own storm, my role is no longer just be a teacher. I'm here to plant the deep roots, to spread the power of nurturing with presence to every parent, to make this positive influence ripple through our entire community. So, today I stand here representing a legacy of 2 generations of women resisting risk, from my mother's seed in 1981 to my rebirth after the storm. I have to call to action. Recognize the power of education is the foundation of economic autonomy. Early childhood education is the root. Planting seed early creates the most resilient future. In this final photo, you can see the 3 generations of my family. My mother is my foundation. She was the one who told me that we work hard, so we have the power to give. I'm staying here as a survivor who fought to win back my dignity and my light. And my daughter, her joyful, loud laugh, and the greatest justice of all. She is the proof that when we choose education and the integrity, we build a world where the next generation can be truly free to dream and to laugh. Thank you for listening.
Feel touched by her story. I think she demonstrates a strong woman from her mother. Her mother is also a strong woman, has an independent economic and financial status. So when her father crashed, her mother become to the pillar of this family. So when she crashed, and she's not crushed, she choose to be the example, good example as her child. So I think during the women's status, we always facing change. We always facing the difficulties, but we have to choosing what we are going to be. So I saw that this story also showing us the resilience leadership, and also grab at her dignity. Also, I think Cecilia mentioned about in her societies, they are not just only searching for the charity. They are searching for the dignity for those women who would like to become the pillars for their families, also transform to the next generation. So now we are welcoming the youngest girl in this room. She is our hidden speaker today. She's very young. We have to guess what's her age, because she looks younger than her. And she's our special guest for today. She's going to speak what kind of leadership she imagined and how she become maybe like a girl leaders, or how she encounter any difficulties in her daily life. So let's welcome our youngest speaker today, Vera, yeah, here. Vera, 你有办法从这里 Is she very cute? Yeah, how old are you now?
I'll tell everyone later.
She's going to tell you later, so let's welcome her.
Hello everyone, I am Vera, and do I look the same in the picture? Okay, this is me. Okay, and I am, does anyone want to guess my age? Yes. So I am 12 and I'm almost 13 now, and I came with my parents, Shelton and Amanda. We came from Taiwan. We flew all the way to New York. Okay, and my topic for today is girls need opportunities to practice leadership at a young age. And I have thought of a few questions surrounding this topic. So my first question for myself, I'm gonna answer them myself. So, have I noticed moments when girls and boys are treated differently in daily life or at school? So actually, no, because we have been taught about a bunch of gender equality, and with all the SDGs and with a lot of new education, we have learned that girls and boys should be treated equally. And since it's 2026, we don't disrespect women right now, and I mean in our school. But sometimes I noticed it's not at school, but I noticed in some of ethnic groups in Taiwan, they still disrespect women, and they have this thought about women that they should be not working, they should be caring for kids. But my continuing speech is going to talk about how women and girls can also stand up for themselves and have the same potential as men. So what does a leader look like to me? Does a leader have to be strong or loud? So a leader to me is someone like Annie Frank. Okay, if you haven't heard her story, I'm going to explain it to you right now. So do you guys know World War II, where the Nazis wanted to kill Jewish? Anne Frank was one of the Jewish, and she and her family hid in this little attic in, I think it is in, yeah, it's in Amsterdam. That is correct. Thank you so much. Okay, she wrote a diary about her story in this little attic. I think she is very strong, and she explained the story very clearly. She helped me understand a view of World War II, and after reading her story, I feel so lucky to be here right now. And I think Anne Frank is very brave, and she is very confident in herself, and that is what I see in a leader. I don't think a leader needs to be strong or loud. That is not a point of a leader. I think a leader should have confidence and courage, have the courage to lead everyone, and have the confidence to know that they are right. And the next question I thought is, if adults could do one thing to support like our voices, like girls' voices, what would I hope for? Well, I'll give another example for this. So everyone heard of the Afghanistan girl, Malala? Yes, Malala is an Afghanistan girl, and she is very famous for she got shot in the head by the Taliban, but she still standing up for women in Afghanistan. So in Afghanistan, the Taliban is controlling the country, as we all know. And they disrespect women, they have discrimination against women. But Malala's dad didn't think the same as Taliban. Malala's dad told Malala that women can also be brave and women can also stand up for themselves. They should have the equal rights, and they both have the potential to thrive. Her dad believed that women could also be stronger, maybe even stronger than men. So, the point here is that I want adults to advocate to girls that we can be like Malala. We can see all those great women historical figures. Maybe we can be like them someday. You need to believe in yourself. And that is what I want adults to tell us. And the last question I thought for this topic is, what kind of environment do I wish girls could grow up in? Well, of course, I wish girls could grow up in an environment where they are not treated differently, like where they share the same rights with boys, and where they have the same chance to thrive, and where they have the same chance to also become a part of history, and where they receive the same amount of respect. You bow to boys, you say hi to boys, and so do you do this to girls. And thank you, that is my speech. And I'd like to especially thank Mrs. Merle Barlian and President Mrs. Hori and Mrs. Kim, and also Mrs. Winnie Chow, even though she's not here, but thank you for giving me a chance to step on this stage and tell you a perspective of mine. Thank you.
Wow, she's very brave and very presentable. And according to her short speech, we can think the young lady's role model totally different from the role model like my age, right? But we are trying to create a world, a very good world for those young ladies that break the barriers, to let them know they can do anything, like they can be strong, they can stand up for themselves, and also they can do lots of things for this society. Let's have a big clap for Vera. Okay, so now we have some time for the Q&A time. So is there anyone have the question? Okay, please.
Hi, my name is Csw70. I'm a member of the National Council of Women of Canada. And thank you for such an inspiring panel. I have just two kind of comments about women's leadership. One was something I heard Gloria Steinem say, you know, the famous American feminist.
There's
You
a
want me
microphone,
You want me to speak into the mic? Okay. I won't repeat what I said. I just go directly to my comment. So Gloria Steinem said that we have an unconscious bias, all of us, against older women in leadership positions, because they all remind us of our mother and the authority and power our mothers had over us. And so I'm curious to hear your perspectives. And secondly is an insight from my husband, who grew up with two sisters, an older and a younger sister, worked with a lot of women, and observing me for 27 years, he said, women are very hard on themselves and each other. And so the point about working on yourself and your confidence. So I would just like to hear some commentary on that.
Okay, thank you for your question. So President Hori, would you like to answer this question? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. I would like to comment on your second comment. I feel that we are so hard on each other, the women. So we invented a program to to communicate well, and also how to heal ourselves and forgive ourselves and love others, so that if we can unite, we can create more amazing power. So we are trying. You're from which country? You're from Canada. Yeah, Japan is the same. Even our organization. We're so hard on each other. So we try to have a moment that we understand each other, forgive each other, and yes, we are trying. We are on the way there. But thank you so much for your comment. Thank you.
Let me wondering something that is very important also. In Argentina, we work as a network with many other organizations, mostly led by women, and that is such important for us because we can find, I don't know how to say, sorority between us, and that's very important to keep on working and to feel that we are in the same line and we can trust each other. And, that was another point that came to my mind when you were speaking.
Okay, for other questions? No? Would you like to have second question? Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I'm from China. I think the talk is very good. I want to ask, how old the young girl? I guess is about 16, right? Or maybe 15. Sorry about that. That's my one question. The second one is to my many years experience. Yeah, especially my international experience. I think actually the women problem is not from men, from women themselves. I don't know, for so many years, what the women, from education, younger and later, the women, the most the weak is they like to be jealous because they are not confident to go up. Oh, they jealous to other people, let them down. That's what I met, what I made, my really experience. So normally I leave them the father, or I make myself more strong, much more strong. Okay, then okay. If you are similar with others, they will jealous with you, push it. So I think actually, technology is something is good, but the policy is also policy strategy something is very important. Okay, thank you.
Anyone want to have some feedback?
Sure, I would like to add on from that. So in corporate, you can see that from McKinsey or a lot of consulting firms have different studies around this topic. I'm not going to repeat the data. But what we can see is there are two aspects. One is individual level. When I'm working with a lot of management, it is interesting, for example, when we are saying, oh, how can you delegate and how can you actually, make people to work together across cultures? And many times, the communication issue traces back to what happens to your family of origin. And actually, there are Ivy League professors in business schools talking about the studies. How does the family ghost go into the boardroom? Because we are human beings, and it's very interesting that at corporate we want to see people as robots. You need to fill in that skill set instead of being humans. But we all carry that. And are we aware about that for ourselves? And are we aware of that for other people? And can we allow that? Because if we don't allow this, people would try to hide it. And we know what's going on after that with human behaviors. And the other one is about scarcity. So when we human beings perceive, it's not really about gender. When we human beings perceive, there's only 2 seats over there. And if I see dangers, I might not get the seat over there. What would I do? Probably I'm not going to be very supportive. But in your past experiences in your life, you always feel that, oh, this is mine. For example, like Indeed.com made a survey, 70% of men, more than 70% of men than women, when they see the posting of jobs, they will just apply if they like it. They don't care about the qualifications. I like it, I apply it, oh, it definitely has to be me, duh. But for women, it's like I go to the qualification, oh my God, out of 10, I only fit in 8. Oh, I'm horrible, there's 2 more that I'm not fitting in. So it's also, you can see that from data. So what we have experiences, and as a human being, how are we choosing for that awareness for ourselves and for others? So that's something else we can actually do together. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. And President Hori would like to add on some.
Thank you so much for your comment, because for all these years, this is the 70th CSW, and after the Beijing Declaration, we 3 decades passed, but the situation of women is not progressing enough. But I think now we're in the different stage of not blaming men, but we have to look at each other, as women. Maybe it's our fault. It's not everything. But last year when I came here, and so many women leaders were talking about so for all these years we were focusing on educating girls and women. But how about boys? We have to educate boys that men and women are born equal and we respect each other. And it is so important to educate boys when they're young. But now is another stage. We have to, think about ourselves. Are we doing okay? So thank you so much for your comment. Yeah, we have to think about ourselves, what we need. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I also would like to add on a little bit about that. I really appreciate my mother-in-law, because when I get married, my mother-in-law always told to my husband, your wife is working and you are also working, so you cannot rely on her to do everything. So my husband need to clean, need to grab the garbage to the place, and he has to look after our child as well. So I think we have to do it by ourselves and also educate women and girls. We are equal, and to do everything, because the society is built from ourselves. Okay, so hope you enjoy the meeting today. Do you enjoy today? Yes. You like the topic? So we can give a big applause to our 4 speakers and the hidden speakers, Vera as well. So I would like to give the gift to all the speakers from Gongwen Foundation. And later we'll have a picture for 4 of us, and we will have a picture for everyone together, okay? Okay, just 2 or 3 minutes, okay?
Just one question. I think today's presentation is very good. I want to share with, actually, I'm the women leader, one of the organizations in my country, and also I travel women leader. So I hope to get some presentation share.
I think we will have the video online so we can share out. We also do the broadcasting
How
now.
to get your video?
We can give you later. Yes.
I think you are the influence is how you promote it. Okay.
Yes.
Not only a few people.
Yeah. So we will.